that there will not just be one war of Gog and Magog. According to rabbinic tradition, there will be at least 3 wars. Some people, like the Vilna Gaon, say there might even be more. And many of our sages try to figure out maybe World War I was the first of these wars, and maybe World War II was the second of these wars, and who knows what's going to be the third. This is open to tremendous speculation. In any event, it's a normative teaching that there won't just be one war of Gog and Magog, there'll be several. And the prophet Zechariah here describes one of these great wars. One of the analogies that our rabbis give to explain these many wars, because this is supposed to be in Jewish literature called Chevlei Mashiach, the birth pangs of the Messiah. The rabbis speak about great suffering that will take place for the Jewish people before the coming of the Messiah. And part of this great suffering will be these horrible wars and great persecution. And the rabbis give a mashal, an analogy, to a king that got very angry with his son. And the king passed sentence on his son that the son should be killed by having a huge boulder thrown at him. But then later on, when the king, his anger abated, and he felt that it really does not want to kill his son, so he basically took the sentence. He couldn't wipe it away, but he said, we'll take this big boulder and we'll break it into small, tiny rocks and pebbles. And we'll just throw those rocks and pebbles at the boy. They won't kill him, but they'll make him suffer. So in the prophet here, Zechariah chapter 12, we read that on that day, when there's this great war going on, Hashem will protect the inhabitants of Jerusalem. Even though the whole world is going to attack us, God will protect Jerusalem. And on that day, even the weakest among them will be like David. Even the weakest Jew will be as brave like David, who was a great warrior. And the house of David will be like divine beings. They'll even be like angels. That's how inconquerable they will be. Like an angel of Hashem before them. And it shall be on that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come up upon Jerusalem. God said that even though the whole world is going to try and destroy Jerusalem, God said, I'm going to destroy all these nations. And I will pour out upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem a spirit of grace and supplications. And they, the Jewish people, will look toward me because of the one they have stabbed. And they will mourn over him as one mourns over an only child, and be embittered over him like the embitterment over a firstborn. On that day the mourning will become as intense in Jerusalem like the mourning of Hadad-Rimon and the mourning at the valley of Megiddon. Now, the way many of our commentaries understand this passage is that even though the language describes one person who is stabbed and the mourning over one person, many of the commentaries point out that in our Bible, the Bible often describes the Jewish people as a singular corporate entity. The Bible often describes the entire nation with the pronoun he and him. And so many commentaries point out that what the Jewish people will look to God for in this passage, we're going to turn to God because not of the one that was stabbed, but we're going to turn to God because of all the Jews who would have fallen in battle. It's quite likely that in this entire war, where the whole world is attacking us, we're going to lose more than one person. And so, according to many commentaries, the way they understand this is that we will turn to God because of those that were stabbed, those that were killed in this war. And we're going to mourn for him, meaning we're going to mourn for them like we're mourning for a firstborn son. However, The Babylonian Talmud in Tractate Sukkah, page 52a, understands it differently, and understands it literally as speaking about one person. The Talmud says, what is the nature of this mourning, this great mourning? Rabbi Dosa and the rabbis disagreed about it. So there was a disagreement between Rabbi Dosa and the rabbis. One said that the mourning will be for the Messiah from the tribe of Joseph, who was killed in battle, while the other said it will be for the evil inclination, the Yetzer Hara, that will be slaughtered at that time. Now tonight we're not going to analyze what it means that the evil inclination will be slaughtered. That's an entire lecture unto itself. But according to one opinion in the Talmud here, the passage in Zechariah is describing the death of Mashiach ben Yosef, who will be killed in this end-time battle. Now, it's important to know that the whole concept of Mashiach ben Yosef, the entire concept is very tenuous, because in the entire Talmud, a huge work, 63 volumes, 63 tractates, there's only one mention, actually two if you want to take the previous passage about the four craftsmen, where according to the Talmud, one of them is Mashiach ben Yosef, but it told you nothing about him. But if you want to find the one place in the entire Talmud where we're told anything about Mashiach ben Yosef, who is he, what does he do, this is it, the one place. And we're told that he will be killed in this end-time war, and there'll be tremendous mourning and eulogizing of him. Because this concept is so tenuous, you should know that Maimonides, for example, who wrote a definitive work on what the concept of Messiah is in Judaism, the Rambam doesn't mention one word about Mashiach ben Yosef. For him, the entire concept is just not even discussed. And I've looked at many contemporary works, many contemporary books that discuss the concept of the Messiah, and they don't get into the second idea of the Messiah, son of Joseph. So it's obviously, whatever the concept is, it's a very, very, very minor character in the scheme of things. But this war that we're describing, this is discussed many times in the Bible. In the book of Ezekiel, chapters 38.
To say I love you right out loud. Dreams and schemes and circus crowds. I look at life that way. But now old friends are acting strange. They shake their heads. They say I've changed. Something's lost, then something's gained. In